Okie dokie. There we are. All of us are here. Those are all of our faces, and I am not muted, so I'm doing my job. Welcome, everyone, to the Money Pigs Livecast. This is episode number 67.
Wow.
I know you might have been expecting the Blue Muzzy, and now you're getting a distracted elf. Unfortunately, Muzzy has some ISP, some internet problems that are out of his control this week. And thankfully, Elf was around and stepped up in his place. So I want to first of all thank you, Elf, for doing this on short notice.
I am always happy to step in whenever I need to.
We certainly appreciate it. I always enjoy your commentary and your thoughts on the game. As well as, like always, we've got MOBA Champion John here as well. And Tulse sporting some new art, if you notice, here in our little Money Pigs logo. So that looks nice. Get hyped for the Tulse art. You guys get him in a sundress now, so.
Much
Definitely.
There you go.
Stupid sundress.
How-
Scrag says in his chat, people keep talking about, yo, Scrag, can you get Toast to wear a sundress? It's like Scrag's
it's
stream
bleeding.
chat.
It's bleeding over into other chats.
It's terrible.
So other than our hellos, we're going to jump into it right away here and get right into what's going on in the Chronicles. So up until this point, we've been getting Viana and stuff going on with her tribe, or I don't really know what she calls her people.
The cult.
Her
Yeah.
cult, basically.
The cult, yeah.
And
But now we're done. We're out of there.
we're out of that
So-
Yeah, but
horrible,
it
sad
was
place.
such a good segment though.
Nah.
There was so much there, so much.
This is a good segment. This is a
So-
new. I don't-
otters, please.
What? Come on, that last panel though.
It's true. It's
That
pretty
the
good.
double little
I
otter
just
babies.
apparently just have unpopular opinions when it comes to what I want to see in the Doggate Chronicles. I don't know.
No, Elf,
That's
I'm with
fair.
you. At first, when they first went into the Viana arc, I was like, ho hum Viana. But they did kind of give us some nice little wrinkles to like her part of the world and her society, and I did find that interesting. Like I'm more interested now in Viana than I ever was before.
Exactly right. And
So I will give you that.
I feel like, especially like some of the earlier pages where you don't necessarily know it's Viana, and so on, like it's not necessarily revealed, where she gets that guy basically like cowering before her, and it's like you're not allowed to stand up, like sort of thing. You're not allowed to look at me.
Mhm.
I think that's like one of the. I mean, maybe I'm reading into it too hard, but it's like one of the darkest images that we've seen so far in the Dawngate universe. I mean, we've seen Desecrator
Up
get
there.
buried by beetles, but I definitely think that Viana making people like grovel before her in threat of violence, like that's pretty intense. And the last panel that Viana is in, where she actually looks like she's not self-assured, like she's got a little bit of nervousness about like going out and doing stuff, that is completely contradictory to the things beforehand that we've seen, which is just like really awesome.
Yeah.
It is. It gives
It's nice
some
to
nice
get
depth.
a peek into her inner personality and stuff instead of just like this, outwardly facing perfect being, like super. She kind of seemed a little bitchy. So yeah, it's nice to see a bit of insecurity for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Muzzy did a nice job of pointing that out last week. The whole thing, like in her facial expressions and how they change.
I wish
Yeah.
we did some bloodbending within the panels.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Just
Oh,
making someone explode.
Yeah.
I don't think she's a shaper necessarily yet, though.
Oh really? That'd be interesting.
No, because they're saying like people have got these powers, right? In the panels, they're like, people outside have got these powers and stuff, and they're like, Viana, you gotta go check this out. That's basically what
See,
they're
I-
doing.
Well,
I
we
thought
talked
she
about that
had-
last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought she was thought she was special, and then she was pissed off that other people had the powers as well.
Mm-hmm.
That might also be it. I mean, I'm not sure.
The consensus we kind of came to at the end of last week's discussion about it was that she had gotten her powers, but it's still pretty recent. She just was one of the first people to get them so the idea is like the Dawn Gate first opened, and that was that whole thing with Idolus and everything. And then after that, the Shapers got out and they went to certain people. Certain Shapers got to certain people faster than others. It seems like the way it seemed to me was Viana was one of the first people to get it, so she had this for like a couple weeks or months. And now she's finally hearing that other people have got this, and she's not this special little snowflake she's been
You
led
could
to
very well
believe.
be right. I read it completely in the other direction. That was like, I'm perfect. How do I not have this? You know what I
I
mean?
was with you, El, but then it was someone corrected me last week, and they're like, no, there was no Shapers before the Dawn Gate first opened. So like that's the.
What? I thought there was. I
I
thought
thought there might have been two. I don't know.
I-
That's
I
Well, then
think
what
the
the heck
result of that
what the heck
fun.
is Petrus all about when he's like shaping
Yeah,
stuff in the
I
first
think
like
they've been
2 pages?
experimenting with shaping, and I think shaping is like something they've been able to like kind of do. But I think like the
But now that they
bond
have
with the
vitalities.
spirits,
Mhm.
I think
Is-
that's maybe new.
yeah.
Like maybe Zal gets up in here. Okay,
Yeah. And then like Renzo's been bending his rocks and clay forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point. That always kind of was something I wasn't really sure of.
Like, was he just like a
Fuzzy
really
stuff.
good artist, or was he like supernaturally good before the whole?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
shaping was normal and like lots of people could do it, but like the bonding and all that stuff, that's new. The Dawn Gate opened and
We
then
need Dandelion in here to confirm.
Yeah.
Bring 'em all
Shaping
in.
and shapers are different. Shaping is carving stones to interact with the spirits. Shapers are actually bonded with the spirits. Yeah, so yeah.
that,
So,
that
so
would
Viana's
definitely
been
be fun
shaping.
episode.
I mean, I guess we didn't see the point when she bonded, but I don't really know how that went down.
Or
But it
if she
seems like
hasn't
she's
been.
been doing this for a while. She's been strong for a while. This isn't a new thing for her. She's been
Well,
bred to be strong.
well, she's been bred to be strong, but her being strong for a while doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the Dawn Gate opening. I mean, she's been a perfect being for however long she's existed because that's how she was created,
It's
right?
true. I mean, that's
So,
what they lead
so
us
I
to
mean,
believe.
regardless of whether the Dawn Gate opened and she got a vitality or whatever and became more perfect, she was already like bred to be this amazing thing.
Yeah,
right?
so it's almost like when the bond would happen with her, it's her now. It's like justifying everything
Well,
that she's done
yeah,
up to this point.
it's
You know what I
sort
mean?
of-
In her
it's-
mind, it's like,
There we
oh, of
go.
course, I am the perfect being. So boom, there we go.
We have confirmation now.
Nice.
Dibs.
Okay. So
Okay, that
shapers
makes
can
sense.
just do it like naturally without a lot of training. And...
It's like having to write all the runes for something or having to just be able to cast it spontaneously.
So it's
I
like
like it.
level
So it's
10
like
proficiency with
Full Metal
magic.
Alchemist
exactly,
clapping
yeah,
as opposed to
yeah.
drawing the whole thing.
It's your sorcerers versus your wizards
Yep.
type of deal.
I like it.
Neat.
OP.
So
But-
either way, we're moving on now from Viana, and so today's chapter we're whole new scene, new setup. We see Kendra and Fenmore like either passing through the Otter camp or going there to specifically meet with someone. I'm not really sure what they're planning on by coming across this Otter camp, but like Fenmore's like all right, we can like listen, we need these people to help us out. And Kendra's, you can see like her prejudice is coming out. She's like, these like
Yeah.
dirty gypsy otters. Like I want nothing to do with them. Ooh, look at that otter. So Fenmore's kind of talking Kendra through this whole thing, and we're seeing the otterkin in their kind of natural habitat, and I don't really know what's gonna. What was your guys' take on today's?
My prediction is that of course we've got Otterkin, so Moya is the one to come out. You would imagine, unless there's like some character we have no idea what they're about, and suddenly we're gonna meet them. But I don't think that's gonna happen because it hasn't happened yet in the Dawn Gate Chronicles. So I think
It's probably Moya.
I think we're gonna see Moya.
I hope
And
it's Moya.
I honestly think that if I had people in my chats, the otter, nice. Had people in my chat speculating today that were like, "Oh, you think Moya's gonna be one of the 9?" And I was saying,
Yeah,
I was
I know,
saying,
right?
one of the things I was saying to them was, they may ask her, but I think she will reject them. I
Interesting.
think
Yeah,
it will
that's what
be
I was
very
thinking.
much like "Oh, you want to be super evil and badass?" Yeah, I'm not really into that. I got money to make and
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what I was thinking. I was gonna think that Fenmore and Kendra would ask, but Moya would be interested in something else. So maybe she would join, but under a different
Like
set of circumstances.
like an ulterior motive.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because
My-
she's all about smuggling and doing pirate things.
Mhm.
Yeah, I assumed that they were just going to hire her for her specific uses, but I don't really see her as a strategic planner on like their dark and hidden council.
on
Like,
their sinister council of hooded members. Yeah.
right. I see her as like, oh, she runs shit down in the rivers. We have to pay her money to get our stuff where it needs to go. So that was sort of my my guess.
She's always kind of seemed to be more of like a Han Solo type smuggler.
Oh my god, yeah.
Then
Give me a
Yeah.
Han Solo skin. I
so
would buy that twice.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of my point though, and it's like I think like if Kendra and Fenmore like lead her on to believe, like I don't know if how Fenmore's gonna play it, if he's gonna play it like, hey, I'm trying to do this like nice noble normal thing. What just happened, John? Did you just get food delivered?
I did.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Oh my god.
Playing the
you
role of the
lucky-
Blue Muzzy this evening, MOBA
you
champion.
lucky bastard.
Check this shit out.
What is that?
That is a
Twerp sends me a
with-
message like
whipped
10 minutes
cream and
before
shit.
Money Pigs. He's like, "Can you do Money Pigs?" I'm like, "Oh shit! I guess I'm not eating until after."
Fair enough. Anyway, I didn't know. I don't mean to derail you guys.
No, where I was going with it was just kind of like, at one point, does Moya, like, do you think she has enough morality in herself and her, because she's clearly like a moralistic shaper. She's worried about her crew and things like that. And if you've looked at her lore and her other stuff,
I think it's gonna be like a matter of like risk versus reward with Moya, and it's not gonna be necessarily a matter of morality, because she's a criminal basically,
yeah,
right?
but a
So-
criminal with a heart of gold.
Yeah,
Doesn't she
okay.
love somebody in her
I'll-
crew?
yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah, she does. But I'll give you that. But also, like, risk versus reward, like, if they're offering a lot, I mean, you know, it's the sort of, like, you got to pay off your creditors type of deal, right? Like,
It's good.
you're
So
gonna
that'll
make
be
that big-
interesting to see what
you gotta
kind
make
of
that big money.
moral
Right.
quandary we could find Moya potentially in.
I mean, even Han Solo worked for the Hutts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's true. So this could be our Han Solo work. We never saw Han working for the Hutts in Star Wars, though, so we might actually get to see what
yeah.
Moya, what
I mean,
Fenmore
we
makes
just
Moya
got
do.
the aftermath.
Yeah. So this could be really interesting if it goes that route.
Well, I mean, other people that have worked with, oh, well, I guess according to the pros lore, like that's all like non-canon now, or
Well,
something.
it's up for changing.
I was just gonna say, like, according to the awesome people that get involved with Fenmore, I mean, Salus is one of those like, holy shit, like, things that I want to know about. But anyway, that's off topic.
So either way, we're looking forward to what happens in regards to the lore in the upcoming chapters. I think we're probably going to stay with these Otterkin for a little bit and what Fenmore and Kindra are up to. This is really the first time we've seen Fenmore and Kindra since the whole Knife in the Dark thing.
oh, that's a good point.
So now we're starting to see maybe this is the first
true.
step of, you know, the whole deception cloak and dagger type approach they're going to take. Hey, I mean, what's more deceptive and you know, clandestine than like a bunch of smugglers? So
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. I wonder if that actually
Yeah.
is part of the Shadows thing.
I don't
like,
know.
Or
Maybe
if it
they
just-
would. Who would they have went to if it wasn't Shadows? I
it
guess
was
somebody
Hammer in
more
the
like
Sun.
official, someone more open.
like a
But that totally
military
fits,
leader
though.
or something.
Yeah, that totally fits. Like smuggling and being able to like sneak around. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you
Or
know,
if
like
it
that.
were if it were somebody more open, could you hesitate to say maybe someone like Basco, who would be like leading open fighting rebellion against people?
that sounds
but
reasonable to me.
that'll
I
make
just don't
people
know if their
sad.
interests.
Yeah, I know,
align.
because I picked the other one and everybody else. I'm just trying to make people sad because I've lost every single lore vote, you bastard.
And not at all upset about that.
I have no salt in my veins at all. No. We're good.
Fair enough.
I'm fine.
It would be interesting to see what would happen in a potential like Fenmore Basco meetup, and I wonder how they're because like Fenmore like doesn't. I mean Basco probably doesn't care so much about Fenmore's plot for world domination, and I feel like Fenmore could like spin it in a way where he's like, oh no, I'll make a land where the common man can do whatever he wants, and just kind of like appeal
Oh,
to
yeah.
Basco's sentiments and just
Oh,
kind of use
yeah.
him as like the muscle, you know. That would be interesting.
That is for certain.
Well, I don't really think Fenmore is even particularly that evil. Like I think he's just got a dream of like how to make the society. Like there's a bit of backstory to Star Wars where like that kind of hints that the Empire was only putting together all of its like evil stuff to be like this unified stronghold against like these alien invaders, which show up like 50 years after Star Wars.
Oh, are we?
So, like-
are we? Oh man.
I don't want to go too far into that, but
Are we
maybe
talking about this?
Fenmore.
I can talk about this.
Maybe Fenmore knows that like he has to build the civilization because of something worse. So he's got harsh and really like what we would see as evil ways of going about it, but it's like necessary evils. Like I want to see I want to see Fenmore's motives.
He's not. Yeah, he's not like the sadistic, like dictator type leader,
Right.
evil. He's much measured in his approach. There's a purpose. There's a method to his madness, so to speak. Even even destroying Freya's village, that was to cover his tracks. That wasn't like out of malice or anything like that. It's just, sorry, you guys can't know I exist. I mean, that's how I took it more. It wasn't like I'm bored on the weekend. Hey, look, here's a village. I'm going to burn it. Like, I don't think that was his. I don't think he was like killing time, so to speak.
I agree.
I don't really know like the background of Fenmore, to be honest.
What?
Like okay.
I don't really either.
Like yeah, like what does he truly want? And what is he?
He's a warlord, but
Yeah.
Like I know he wants to start some kind of giant like confrontation between like people, right? Like and he wants to like take over something, but I don't know what it is and why he's doing it. And
Well, you've got sort of like your northwest, east, south,
yeah,
middle type deals. I
Yeah.
feel like Fenmore's the guy who wants to be like, we need to be one thing. We don't need to be all these things. At least that's what I get from Fenmore. It's sort of this like, I really like power and I like being in control of stuff and I like fighting and I like war and I'm really good at it. So let's have one and I'll rule over everyone with my iron fist of awesomeness.
so he's Genghis Khan.
Pretty much.
Okay.
sounds.
We will
I
have
can
to
see
see.
that.
I think
Yeah.
this,
I mean,
this
that's-
week and into next week, I'm hoping this is like a 4-page at least little arc. I'd like, I think the story here will be nice.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, that's
previous
kind-
chapters
that's kinda
kind
what
of
I
seemed like a digression from the main storyline, and now that we're seeing Fenmore and Kendra again, it's like, okay, we're back on the main storyline. Like the filler episodes are done, and now we're getting back into the new main arc. I mean, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll see where it goes from there. Any other final thoughts on this week's lore and the chronicles up until this point?
Oh, when they show like Fenmore and Kendra, I also want to see what Freya, Nisa, and Dibs are doing. Like I
Oh,
hope,
true.
The aftermath
Hey.
of what's going on in that village
Yeah.
would be nice.
but there's a part of me that kind of doubts that that'll be shown within
I mean,
the
I
next few
think
pages.
it's all as usual. That what they'll do is they'll do a scene. They'll do not quite enough of the scene for us to get anything worth actually knowing about
Oh.
anything, and then they'll
And
switch
then
to
swap.
another scene, and then
Yeah,
and then they'll do
Yeah.
that like another 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
and then maybe we'll have some of a picture.
That makes sense. Yeah, they've been doing that a lot.
I mean that in the nicest possible way.
It's,
I mean, you have
they
a
always
roster
leave
of
us
30
wanting more.
Yeah.
you
But I
have a
don't really
roster
blame
of
them.
30 characters, right? And 30 characters, 3 panels per character. That's like 10 weeks straight just to theoretically cover them all. So that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, we're getting them nice and frequently. I mean, 3 times a week. Holy crap! Like, you want updates on a comic? This is
Yeah,
pretty solid.
Yo,
I'm-
but my
I'm
Japanese
happy.
manga, they deliver like 20 pages per week.
Yeah, okay, but they also like
do they
That's
That's what they
that's-
do for a living
it's like
too.
the sole
So,
thing they have to do.
exactly. Yeah.
Don't start down that road, Tulls.
Nicole would kill me. Like, do you know how much work I have
You
to do?
son of a. Good stuff coming out of the lore. Moving on to more of the gameplay stuff. It seems to me lately, now we're starting to really see the fruits of caster mode and all the hard work Waystone did in getting that out for us. Because like the new hotness right now is in-houses. Am I right?
You're
It
potentially
certainly
correct.
Seems to be.
I mean, I've done. I did one today earlier, a little while with Scrag, Mr. McScrag. Those of you who know who he is, and
heard of him.
earlier last week, I did one with Sporesmith, and not just me, but I've seen like TSG's been doing in-houses. Some of the other streamers have been doing in-houses and stuff. So, I mean, just what are you guys' impressions from these in-houses? Have you been watching? Have you been keeping up with them? Have you been playing in them? Like, where do you guys stand on the in-houses?
I think I've watched every single one of them briefly. I'm a busy guy, obviously, but I think I'm more entertained by those than a regular stream. So, like,
Yeah.
because it follows the type of streams of League of Legends that I watch. Like I like watching the esports. I like watching LCS. So like it's like halfway there, and it's got me pretty excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I've same as John. Kind of like I've looked in and like peeked my head in and checked it out, sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. I really like it, and people are getting their casting muscles flexing, which is good. I mean, we have the king of the casters here with us, Twerp.
Oh,
so,
let's pump the brakes
the
on that.
king!
you know, I just thought I would slide that in there.
The king.
Hashtag Twerp for life. But yeah, I think it's really good, and I'm looking forward to like getting some stuff going sort of on my end as well, which should be fun. I haven't really tested the caster mode at all yet.
It's super simple, Elf, and you just
Yeah,
leave
it's
it
really
on smart cam, and you're fine. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's just like not a thing that I've really done very much, and I just kind of, I don't know. I'm in a bit of a like solo queue spree these days, so.
Yeah, I mean, like for streamers that like aren't doing the whole tournament thing, right? Like let's just say you're Trick 2G style streamer who's like, I stream solo queue, I'm entertaining. The caster mode could definitely be used for sub wars type
Which
events.
is actually we've been talking about between those of us who have sub buttons and the little
wow.
little Dawn Gate.
Okay.
Idea.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not being
Wow.
exclusionary.
The podcast is cut in half.
Ow. I didn't
but
mean
no,
it like that, John. Jeez.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, no, we've been talking about stuff like that, so that sort of thing is in the works, which is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think that kind of stuff will be interesting, because I mean, after a while, like solo queue is great and all, but having a healthy, diverse streaming appetite thing, you know what I mean? Like having multiple things to watch is definitely a good thing, right? Like you want everybody's appetite to be satiated.
My only problem with like the smart camera, sometimes if there are things going on, and it happens really fast, like let's say Salus is level 6, he gets the gank off, he like full combos them, and then you have like a Ferris in that lane and they full combo them with him. Sometimes your smart camera will pan to that scene when the guy is already dead, and then you're just like,
Yeah. Well, I mean
you're filling the blank. So
that even happens like in the World Championships right now. Like someone will die, and like someone else will die somewhere else really fast, and they just don't keep up.
yeah.
I mean, you could probably tune whatever heuristics they're using to control the camera a little better. I just noticed it had trouble following Salus a little bit when he did like really long, because it tries to be smooth, right? They're really prioritizing like a smooth transition, but sometimes you have to be like bam, and it doesn't seem to follow it.
sometimes you got a jump cut, man.
So I imagine every patch, not every patch, but every now and often you'll see like a little tweak like in the general section. Oh, improve the this and that. I mean, I think it's really well done for the first iteration. I haven't had any major complaints as a viewer.
It certainly seems awesome from what I've seen as a viewer again. Yeah.
It seems really. I mean, like for a base thing, it's really good, and I haven't had any issues with it. With maybe 10 to 12 games through the caster mode. We had one issue today in the first game we played. All of the pings showed up as the teams pinging their Guardian, and I don't know if other people have had that, but if that's an unknown issue, if anyone else has had that same experience, like speak up, because that's the one thing I've really seen with it. Besides that, we all know we want the Vim totals, and Waystone is going to add more features to it with the item bars being there because people want to see what people are building, and spellbook cooldowns. But
I think that's the priority number one for them. Is they need to integrate Vim. I mean, we talked about this a bit last week, but they need to integrate Vim per player, Vim per team, and then I mean, just straight steal it from LoL. That little widget that shows everybody's items, everyone's levels, all the fancy stuff. Like, just steal it and put it in this game, because like that's okay, don't steal it, but find ways to improve it a little bit, but like get it in there, because hitting tab, like. I'm not a caster, but I have to imagine it sucks. Yeah. So
as soon as you hit tab, a team fight happens. Like, it's just a rule. Like it has to. I mean, it's like, oh, I'm just reading chat. It's like Torp, show the items. Torp, show the items. Torp, show the items. And I'm just like, okay, tab in, and I'm like, oh, okay. And Mina just died, and I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's definitely got to be a priority. Other than that, I think it's like really well done, and like I hope they don't wait until actual spectator mode like is released a year from now. Like I think that needs to be a really priority update like within the next couple months, hopefully. I mean, the UI's there, just move it around a little bit. I know I'm simplifying it, but that'd be a really big win.
Also, like when you buy new items, you can have that item icon kind of like pop up on the shipper's head. So like it's just to signify that, oh, this guy just went to base and got this item, and then you can talk about that real quick.
Like a little feed. Somehow implementing an activity feed type thing into the game would be really cool. Like so that when somebody gets that big buy, that dominance purchase, like I'd even reserve some real estate on the screen for that. Like boom, right in the side.
Yeah,
this guy.
Like in Dota too.
Yeah,
that happens.
Like
because like
it's
if they pick up the blink dagger, it shows up on the right side and goes like this guy, like the portrait icon of the hero, and then blink dagger. That's like the Dota 2 style.
Yeah,
so something like apparent.
I think that's definitely a great idea. I don't maybe with spells, although I think spells are probably minor enough that it doesn't need to worry too much about that. But yeah, I think item thresholds like that are really good because otherwise you have to rely on the caster to point it out. But if it's like up in your face as a newbie viewer, you'd be like, oh wow, something cool happened to that guy, and then hopefully that will prompt the caster to explain it for sure.
The other thing, like just going back to the smart camera, it's really nice in it that it works as well as it does because to cast with someone else, you need to be looking at the same screen. So like the first couple of games, like when I was doing it with Sporesmith, he's like, nope, just leave it on smart camera or else I have no idea what you're looking at. I'm like, oh, that's a good point.
It's really, yeah.
So I mean, unless you want to do it by yourself or you can control the camera that way, I mean, good luck to you if you want to do that. I think it's easier and more fun to cast with other people. And for that, then you're stuck using the smart cam, but I wouldn't say stuck because it's still pretty good.
I think your setup of like correct me if I'm wrong, you're more of a play-by-play guy. So pairing you with like a high-level analyst, like they do in other games, I mean the duo cast is definitely the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But just the I'm just a little kind of like I guess not really taken aback, but a little surprised with how popular the in-houses seem to be. I mean, I can speak for myself. I mean, the 2 times I've done it, like easily over 100 viewers. No, but like people seem into it. People seem into these custom games and the competitive stuff.
My thought on that particular point is that like the thing about the in-houses is they have draw for everyone, right? Like they are a thing that like every viewer of the game wants to watch. Like if you're new, they're great. If you're a veteran, you're probably playing in one of these high MMR or whatever.
Or you know the people in it.
So forth, and you're watching because your friends are playing in it or whatever. Whereas necessarily like regular streams, they tend to have sort of like regular groups or like zones of group where like it's interesting to some people but not to others, I feel like the in-house stuff and the casted stuff like has that sort of like broader appeal, which is really awesome. Definitely really awesome. But that'll be why the numbers are high because you're basically combining like 3 or 4 groups of people who would not necessarily watch the same things into one place where they would.
There's a lot of solo queue players who don't really have the commitment to commit to a like full-time 5v5 team. So what I've noticed from the in-houses I've been watching is it's a lot of those solo queue guys and girls. I think I saw Shay in them as well. It's like those type of players. That's like almost like a new home for them because those aren't the type of people that are going to be able to schedule scrims like Tulsa. I know you guys. Are you still scrimming a lot? Like I know you used to.
You're always trying to, right?
It's hard to find scrims. So many teams have died.
Yeah, I think the esports scene is a little hungry now. A lot of the hype has kind of died down back when it used to be a little more action packed, like with 3 tournaments a month. So I think that's probably another reason why everybody's so hungry for these casted mode things. Is it's kind of like the only option available. So
And I mean, for some of those high MMR people, it's like shorter to do that than solo queue, right?
The biggest problem with it is like when you get all the high MR people, because I don't really like playing the in houses, but when I solo queue and then on my friends list, everyone is in that custom game, I will never get a queue. And it feels like absolute crap.
I think I won like 13 games in a row this weekend, and I started to appreciate the queue times and how frustrating they are. And I just wish I would lose a bunch of games in a row now to get back on like regular queue.
Oh, here we go.
I absolutely.
I wish I would
absolutely
lose games so I could
love-
have better queues.
I'm not even
so
joking.
good.
I am.
It wasn't even
I-
all me, man. I had bad games, but like I had 3 games that there was just mega trolled in the enemy team. It was like free wins on the Elo Express. So
I absolutely love where I sit in the bracket, sort of like your platinum, sometimes diamond if I get really lucky sort of place. It's perfect. It's where all the players are that play constantly enough that there are queues, but not like the super I don't know what I'm doing type players. It's great. It's a great place to be. Just thought I'd share that with the class.
definitely a good feeling when both teams have an experienced jungler because it feels like the pace of the game is a lot like it's more standard and like not the dumbest thing you've ever had. Like as long as both teams have a good jungler, the game feels.
And
like
I'll tell you what, from my experience doing like we've been doing like the like dodgeball style games. If you haven't seen them, where whoever the casters are will pick teams based off the players in the room, and I've got to say it's at least 90% or higher where we're taking junglers first picks, both of us.
Yeah.
Like it's just jungler is still it's just so important for that early part of the game, and you need to have someone who can fill that role. You know what I mean? It's like the tank in the raiding party, like the guy who's like calling out the fights or whatever. Like the jungler is just so influential in the first 10 to 12 minutes of a game of Dawngate that I don't know if that's ever going to go away.
Well, maybe,
but just
maybe.
But the fact that the jungle is so big and just so much a key part of the game. As far as the
Right
laning
now.
phase is concerned, for where we're at, that it's like, in all these in-houses, it's like, 2 best junglers, you're the first 2 people picked every time.
So when you guys do your in-houses, you said you just do dodgeball draft with the casters. Like, I mean, do you think there's any improvements that could be done there, like a draft, not draft, like a captain's mode elo for players, like who some way of making the matches super balanced, or do you think everyone's good enough that it doesn't particularly matter what order you pick people in?
Well, that's what we were trying to do, and that's why the ones I've been doing have been like the invite-only ones, and it's not for some elitism crap or anything like that. It's got nothing to do with that. It's literally just so we can have the best game possible. And I'm sorry, but if the people in this game don't know who you are or have never seen you before, I mean, this game isn't that big. If you're pretty good, people know who you are. Like at some point, they've seen you, they recognize you, they remember you doing something from a game.
Champion.
So
that dude who builds Tank Kindra.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You know what? For my elo climb this weekend, I played 1 Kindra game. That's it. I've been playing support. I've been playing support mages. My new calling.
Rocking that tact, huh?
I went back to Zalgus today and won several games in a row. It's like, why don't I play
yeah.
Zalgus more often? Like, why am I playing all these other characters when I could just be Zalgus?
I know that feeling. I always got to get myself a good cerulean once in a while and cleanse my palate. But so I mean, now in-houses, it seems to be one of the things people like to always harp on is the matchmaking, and it's like someone made a comment in like the Reddit post about tonight's show where it's like we've reverted, we've come full circle, and now we're back to the first couple weeks of Dawngate where all the players knew who everybody literally was because you all joined via custom games, and we had like pro custom games and like intermediate and like newbies. So it seems like now people have gone in and taken matchmaking into their own hands in a sense. I mean, that's what we've been doing.
You know what?
And the games have been pretty close in balance. You can go back and watch the VODs. I mean, I had 1 stomp today that was, like, out of control. The rest of them were all winnable games.
I mean, like, not to be a savant or anything, but we said this a long time ago, obviously before caster mode was a thing, but we're like, all the people who used to complain about, queue times pre-item palooza, like pre-matchmaking, like improvements. It was like play customs with the good players, but it was never like really a viable thing because like customs by yourself with no
Where was the
destiny
reward?
gain, there is no reward. I mean, obviously you're not getting
People do
prizes,
it. People
But-
do it
but-
now to get their E team big.
Well, that's the thing now.
Exactly.
But that's
Caster
really
mode
interesting
dicks.
to me. It's now there's a forum. Now there's a place to show off. I mean, people were jumping at opportunities to play in these games when we do them. Unless we've been doing them for a really long time and it gets towards the end and there's just not that many people around. But like caster mode has really incentivized custom games once again, and I think that's one of the coolest things that have come out from this whole little in-house mini phenomenon that we're seeing.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, like call me starstruck, but like when I jump into a Blue Muzzy custom game, like I want to just crush so many people so hard, and everyone was like, "That's the MOBA champion." They're always talking about. Look at that glory; it's ticking so hard. Well, the ramp and see the resets. Like it feels good to put on a show. Like I mean, I think that's a reason why a lot of
Don't
people
have to
stream
tell me
anyway.
twice.
Right. Like,
Does.
ooh, that distracted elf Zalgiz Omni kill. That's going on
It's
Reddit.
never happened.
Well, what I mean though. Like, that's that's hype, and for people that
Oh,
don't
yeah.
stream or stream to 3 or 4 people, like that's a big opportunity for them to like, make people respect them more and see what they can do. And I don't know if the 5v5 teams might start recruiting again once the tournaments start up, but that's a great place to show off that you can cut it somewhere other than solo queue.
No, I completely agree. And I mean, if anything, like, this should kind of show Waystone that, like, look, people want to watch this game. Like, I mean, these things, I mean, we're getting more stream viewers, and I grant that it's more of a collaborative kind of thing or whatnot, but either way, it's bringing people together in one place. When anyone's doing those big in-houses at the moment, that's where all the action is. So, like, it just kind of shows, it's like, if you build it, they will come, and I mean, it's kind of small and insignificant now, but I think it's like setting, it's like now you have the precedent and now you can build on it and like, okay, well, we know this is the core of the experience and what people like. How do we make this better? Like, we've been joking on our own private chats about creating a betting system for when we do these in-houses, like embedded into the chat so people can get more involved in it. And I think it's
on the to-do list for sure.
well, yeah, it's on the to-do. It's not something that's coming anytime like right away, but like, these are the things we're talking about, and it's like this is the kind of stuff that like Waystone can take and like see what's working on like almost like a meta beta level. Like we're like a beta within a beta that they can take and add to their beta, and everybody betas together, yo.
I think more than anything, the in-house is like a preview of what ranked mode will be like. Like it's good players. I mean, obviously the casting is great too, but it's like good players that don't rely on matchmaking. It's like the best players in a little fishbowl. Everyone's trying really hard. There's draft mode, obviously.
Yeah,
like,
we started that today.
Oh,
We started
boy,
using
trying
that
very
Dawn
hard.
Scout draft tool.
wow, on dawnscout.com, your source for player profiles. Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I think it is a nice little preview for the eventual ranked mode. It seems to simulate it better than anything else so far. But I guess the real question will be, I guess the first 5v5 tournament with caster modes, the across the gate one this weekend.
Well, no. Moment of Valor is Friday.
Moment of Valor.
Tulse
Friday.
pointed that out to me earlier. I totally forgot about it. So
My bad. The first one is Moment of Valor on Friday, which I know lots of things about. I'm really excited.
Yeah, like
for
I
it.
pay attention to that one more than the other because this one has a prize pool.
that's what
Ooh.
gets the panties to drop.
Tulsa's playing on his
Oh,
calendar.
yeah,
He's like
so
Friday
much.
night, extra $100 in my bank account. This is
Mhm.
good. So
I know how to get Tulsa. I know how to get Tulsa's attention now. I'll just
Yo,
host a
a
tournament
man's-
with a
A
prize.
man-
pool.
Magnum condom and a
man's
wad of
gotta-
hundreds.
Yo, a man's gotta feed himself, okay? That's all I gotta say.
That's true.
I
That's
just-
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, prize pools are definitely hard to put together too in a game this size.
Yeah.
Like 5 players, like you have to split it 5 ways. Even $100 is just a 20, so it's like,
Well,
you know,
we're getting dinner, boys.
yeah, we're
Dongate
going
bought me
straight
dinner.
to Subway.
Hell
you get
yeah.
3 footlongs for $20. But yeah. I'm excited to see these two tournaments this weekend. I'll definitely be tuning in because like we've been doing 1v1s and 2v2s for so long, and I always tune in every other week to Bib, but like I want to see the 5v5 because I think that's like the introspective in like what this game could be. So I really hope the teams show up and don't just get stomped by Tulse.
What?
What about
Are you
Based?
playing?
My money's on Based this week if they're playing. Give me that Dawnlu. Give me that Ghosty.
Yaga's so good.
Give me that Yagachu.
Ugh.
Are you playing Friday Tulse? Is your team
Yeah.
playing?
Yeah.
Are you playing on Saturday?
I don't know. Probably.
Don't know yet. Okay. Well, either way, I will be looking forward to it.
But I mean, this is really the first like big run of tournaments that are coming up now, thanks to caster mode and things of that nature. So we'll see how this in-house stuff kind of carries over into these competitive tournaments this weekend, and then maybe grows the scene even more so.
Yeah.
Maybe the in-houses become more real scrims. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
The game is ready to bounce back for sure. You know, there's been lots of gloom and doom. It's been a bit of a summer. I think this weekend's really going to kickstart sort of the turnaround of the interest in the 5v5s and the competitive players.
Dawn Lu Boo. I love a good Dynasty Warriors reference. So thank you, Malk. That was great. Well, yeah. I mean that's kind of moving into our next topic. Is there's just been a lot of like general sadness around Dawngate, or at least that's the pervasive emotion that people seem to be putting out. And I don't know if it's kind of like an echo chamber type thing where people are going like, hey guys, isn't everything shitty? And like they're in this tiny room with the same amount of people and they're like, yeah, everything's really shitty. And I don't know how much of the perception, well, at what point the perception becomes the reality, but it's still something that people continually keep to be bringing up. And I think it would just kind of be cool since we've been in this community pretty much, some of the longer standing members, if we kind of just can give everyone our take on where Dawngate's kind of at. So
yeah, I mean,
fire away.
Obviously, there's a couple posts this week about people like heralding the doom of this game, which is a little silly. I know a lot of people are reasonably upset that there hasn't been any major system updates over the last little while. The content that did get released is easy to forget. Like EU servers, as an NA player, I don't even notice that. Like I don't even register the amount of work that went into that because it doesn't affect me at all. So like for me and other players like me, they're like, "Where's the updates, bro? Where's the updates? Where's my content? Oh, cool, another shaper, but where's my content?" So until Waystone kind of flips the trigger or whatever the hell you want to describe it as, like finishes ranked and progression update and whatever else, like there is a bit of a feeling of kind of like give more, please.
I feel like all you whiny people need to have more love in your life.
Definitely. I'm not a Gloom and Doom person.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I'm super excited about caster mode, but I mean, what was it, 2 days before they announced caster mode? That was the podcast where I was like, okay, what the fuck? Like, give me my shit.
Yeah, we
and
were
like,
all pretty much like that week.
Yeah.
And I think in general it's understandable for people to get like that. I think the game's probably leveled off a little bit right now because like the type of people, I always call it the carrot, the type of people that need that carrot aren't going to stick around in this game until the carrot comes back or gets introduced. So like I think that's why we're seeing a lot of leveled off sort of population right now.
Yeah. Like I'm having so much fun. I make a Smurf and get to 15 wins. And then like my queue goes to 20. I'm like, well, I'll make a new Smurf and do it all over again.
I
Inflating those
really
Dawn
enjoyed
Scout
solo
numbers
queue.
one Smurf at a time.
I enjoyed playing solo queue a lot this weekend. I would say I won all my games, but
And there are actually a lot of new players that are actually pretty good.
yeah,
Like,
I
they
was
just
playing
need to
last
learn
night.
the game.
Yeah, I was playing last night, and I apologize if this is somebody's Smurf or someone that's been in the game for a while. I was playing like this guy named like Fe Rust or whatever, who I'd never seen
he's
before.
New. He's played in newer.
Yeah.
He's played in
Right.
He has
a
like
bunch of
500
bibs.
games.
Okay, well, shit. That
Yeah.
was the first time. You know what? There's lots of names that pop up that I haven't paid much attention to because I
No,
only
but he's
played.
he's newer. He hasn't been around.
Right.
I
He
think
didn't
he's
start
probably only
in
been playing the
the.
game for a couple months at most.
He's after Item Palooza.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
he's
Yeah.
as new. He's new like I'm new. I'm sure. I mean,
Right.
same deal.
Every week I play, I see new players that apparently have been here forever, but I've never seen before. And like I was just an example. I was pulling out of my hat because I remembered it from last night because he played really well. And like those kind of people are still coming into the game, like which makes solo queue generally a good experience for me. So mid-August.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that's pretty new.
that's
for our
like
points.
a month.
And
right?
yeah, and just to clarify, John wasn't trying to knock him. He was actually saying this was a new guy
Yeah.
that I thought was actually good. So
I'm
just to
just seeing all of Tulsa's Smurfs. But I mean, for the
My
most
Smurfs have the dumbest names.
every week there's new players that impress me that I like playing games with and like I've never seen before and they do great and they stick around and I keep seeing them in my games. So, like as long as that keeps happening, I'm not going to be too upset.
I'm in a singularly interesting position in regards to that. Just following up what you said, John,
Mhm.
where I have hit this point where like my skill level is sort of established as like right there, like, and it's not.
Fair enough.
It's hard to get higher for me. But
Well-
I see all these people who come like up through my bracket and just like rocket on past me up to like wherever the hell they go, like the champion tiers and stuff. It's really cool. It's nice to see like people that I recognize.
Right. I mean, just using donscout.com, your source for player profiles. Like I'm seeing you
Can we do that every time we mention Dunscast?
Yeah.
Holy
I
crap.
just saw like that really obvious plug every time.
every time.
Oh, you mean your player source for player profiles?
You're talking about Dawn Scout, right? Your player source for
Yeah.
bro. God, I
Were
fucked
you
I
it up.
know.
going
You
to
got to
the
give us the line, John, and we'll get it every time for you.
Yeah.
Next time. I can't do it
Okay.
on.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I noticed you're kind of like the mid-plat area. You're like right in the middle of the two lines. I think that's like the perfect place for MOBA-ish players, especially in this game. Like, how long are your queues on average?
My queues?
Yeah.
Oh, it ranges anywhere from about like 4 minutes if I'm really lucky to like 12.
Oh, all right. Well, that is a counterpoint because my queues are also between 4 and 12 minutes. I
There
feel
you
like as long as everybody's queues are reasonably short, maybe it's the gold tiers which are getting instant queues, but like as long as that is stable enough, I think the game is more than capable of holding on if you like 2 or 3 extra months until Waystone releases the extra features that will really pull people back in. Because as far as I can tell, it's literally the 1% or the 3 a.m.ers who are really having a problem with matchmaking.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Like when I'm on my main account, I just sit there, and then my queues pop in like 10 to maybe 20 minutes when I'm unlucky. But 10 minutes is not bad because
It's really
when I
not.
used to play League of Legends in beta,
10 minutes is.
yeah, I used to sit
I'm
in
a
queue
PewDiePie
for.
has 10
like-
queues all the time.
Like I mean, if
Yeah,
you
I used
only
to
have
sit
an
for
hour
15
to play the
minutes.
game, like a 10-minute, you don't complain about your 10-minute queue eating into your hour to play the game. Like
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
It's like
And
you're only gonna
Donkey-
get one
Donkey
game in
games.
anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
But-
donkey games are generally shorter. So it's
I mean,
like-
there's definitely quality of life things they can fix. Obviously, like when someone dodges that dreaded dodge, like that
Oh,
ruins it
yeah.
for sure.
oh, that
But-
red person, holy crap!
That one red guy.
I hate
Um,
that red guy.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's nearly as gloomy as people make it out to be. Like, I played all weekend. Most of my queues were between 5 and 15 minutes, depending on who was playing. And like, yeah, I mean, you were always spoiled by 85 million players playing League and getting instant queues all the time. But like, it's never gonna happen, at least in the short term, right?
Yeah,
Like,
not soon anyway.
there's not going to be thousands of players queued up at the exact same time as you to give you that instant queue. And I mean, it's a little bit to get used to, but like once you get adjusted to it, like I don't know, I have a blast playing solo queue.
My whole kind of take on it is people have feelings about things all the time, and as soon as you get like an idea kind of like becomes the truth once you get like 2 people to
Yeah.
agree with you. And it's kind of, I think a lot of that is happening, and a lot of the people who are frustrated are the people who've been around for a long time. Like you were saying,
Right.
John, like for us, it's like we sit there and we're like, how does the EU server affect me? It doesn't. I feel like you've given me nothing. And it's like, well, there are lots of things going on.
I went through the patch notes. There's a lot of little things about it,
Yeah.
but I honestly feel like if 3 months from now we don't have ranked, no progression update, and whatever else they're working on, I would get a little, my head would
Within
start
that
to
time frame, yeah. I mean, me
right.
too.
But I feel like we are hopefully on the cusp of new stuff. I'm hoping caster mode is like, you know, caster mode has hyped me up so much for the game that like whatever comes next and whatever comes next after that, like I really feel like that's gonna do it for me, like in a good way.
Here's just my kind of like level-headed, completely objective approach is like, one, Waystone is hiring people, that's not a sign that something is dying or going away. If you're adding
Yeah,
people to the staff,
Sometimes the head does not know. I mean, that I wouldn't call that.
well, I mean, they're not firing people. Put it that way.
Sure.
They're trying to grow their
I-
team to accomplish more tasks.
I guess
faster.
I may be colored by real life experience in that regard, but
Fair enough.
hired and then 4 days later the studio closes has happened to me.
I'm not saying those things don't happen, but I mean that's just like one of the things. Like so, I look at things like that, and I also Waystone seems to be kind of quiet lately, and I think it might be a thing where they've kind of like shut the doors and are banging out a lot of things internal. I have no idea about this, by the way. This is purely twerp speculation, but it's like I feel like they're kind of banging away on a bunch of stuff and being very quiet about it because things change and things are very fluid and you don't know if things are actually going to make it out. And I think we may have scared them a little bit with the progression patch thing. They came in and I say we because it happened on this show where they came in and they talked about it's like, hey, these are the things that we're kind of working towards in the future. And then people took that and expected it in like 2 weeks. Meanwhile, maybe we did kind of a poor job or I don't know, but like people expected it to be out so soon and to be this thing that we were going to get right away, and it's kind of more of like a theory thing they were working on. As far as that goes, I feel like they could be kind of like shoring up the defenses and then waiting to make a giant like assault come like fall. Now that we are kind of transitioning from summer to fall, it's like, all right, now we're going to come out and this is where we are for the next 3 months. These are the things that we're planning on getting out. I expect it's almost like the calm before the storm would be the way I'd like. That's my optimistic way of putting it.
The game's definitely been in kind of maintenance mode a little bit for the last 4 months ish. Like, other than EU server stuff like that, it's been like new shaper, new skin, new skin, new shaper, new skin, new skin. I think that's definitely attributing to people's kind of like where's the next thing.
Well, there was that huge post on Reddit where it was like, oh, Dange, like I think 50 posted it and he was like, yo, Dange's not dying. And like I agree with it, like a lot of it. And this is how I see it. Like taking a random product in general, if you have a user base that really believes in this product and what this product does, then they'll naturally just advertise it to everyone around them, just by like word of mouth. And if the product really is good, then more people will get it. And that's how I feel with Dange. Like when I play Dange, I feel like I can do everything. Like in League, I have this problem with the freaking latency. I see something happening, and like I predict it's going to happen to me. It happens to me, but I can't dodge it because their game engine sucks absolute dick. I fucking hate it. I played like fucking League of Legends this morning, and I was against Ari, and his charm was gonna shoot at me, and I'm like, yo, it's gonna come, I'm gonna sidestep this shit, and it nails me in the fucking face, and I'm like, this will never happen in fucking Dange.
I have literally been there. It's so funny because I've done the same thing recently, like gone back and played like within the last couple of days, and I'm basically with you, Tulls. It's just like Dange is a better game.
I'm just so mad. It's like Dange's game engine is pretty damn good. Like the responsiveness and like the way things do things is really, really good.
Feels nice.
Yeah, it feels like I can actually move my dude. Like that's the most important part of the mobile. Like you decrease the amount of lag between what you want to do and what actually happens, and then
it makes it feel like a shooter almost. Like you're
exactly.
Your character is as responsive as you are, and that's what I love the most about Dawngate in addition to
Yeah.
no mana. It's one of the things I always liked about World of Warcraft and the MMO scene, like the instant bullshit way that the characters could move any which way you wanted was amazing from a gameplay perspective. Like, fuck turn rates. Turn rates are fucking garbage. I want my character to move as fast as I click, and Dawngate
Yeah.
does it better than any MOBA other than, I don't know, maybe Smite because it's like third person and shit. But like,
Yeah.
you know, from the top down isometric click to move perspective, like there is not a better feeling than playing, you know, moving Dawgate's characters.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, okay, with Dota 2, the turn rate, like you can be like, oh, I got hit by that because of the turn rate. It's not because like, oh, it just didn't move. Like if you planned accordingly with the turn rate, then you would have calculated with it, you know? So like,
Yeah.
and there's lots of OP items like Blink Dagger and Force Staff that like remedy that problem. But yeah, like I just love Dongate because I can do what I want to do.
I agree. This game's gameplay is so good. I play against bots just for fun, and like I am as of this weekend double champion. Like this is like, you know, people that are good at MOBAs want to play against your bots because, you know, it's fun. Like that's what it's always been about this game for me. It's just so fun to play.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said, you know, repeatedly, you know, it's all about the carrots now. The game just needs the carrots to make people want to like level up in this game because the
Yeah,
gameplay is not
like-
enough for everyone. I've played tons of shooter games like back when I was a shooter guy, and I was like, oh, this is so good. Like, oh, Tribes, I can fucking do everything in Tribes. It's amazing, but it's not enough. Gameplay is not enough, and I think that's why Dawngate has held people on really well through gameplay alone. But it's the seal the deal. And I said this in my post to Venor earlier today. Like, I think the June bump that this game got from Total Biscuit and all those like crazy popular like YouTube guys that have a following literally
Really?
larger than most game companies, when they went so hard into this game, everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is the start of the next League of Legends." And you know, obviously all those people play it for a couple weeks and they go back to whatever Total Biscuit's playing this week, you know, that kind of thing happens. So like when you see sort of the thing kind of go, hopefully my camera's doing this, but
You're
like
good.
it's going like this, and then it goes like this, and then it goes kind of like this back onto the normal, like the normal rise of the game, and
It's
it
still
makes
trending upwards.
it makes the game look like it's dying because it's going back down to its normal growth. And you know the Total Biscuit bump and the E3
Well, and that's
bump.
the other thing too. They never
too much.
the Total Biscuit thing too. That was not like a planned thing
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Waystone. Like he just planned it, and they, you know, so when they weren't kind of ready necessarily for that influx of new players and trying to retain all of them, they did the best they could. But at the same time, it was like, we weren't ready for this, and almost like when the game leaked originally, they weren't ready for the game to go into beta when it did. They were just like, well, fuck it, people know about it, let's turn it on and let them play. So that's the other thing why, like, I mean, maybe Dawngate, you know, maybe Waystone doesn't even want to retain, like, maybe they, in their business plan, the beta retention is at a lower percentage than what they planned. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they only predicted for beta player base retention of 20% by the time they went for full release and ready for that. So, like, don't forget that. Like, and I know it's like, oh, it's the worst argument ever to say it's in beta. They're charging money for it. It's a real fucking game. Shut up. We're still in beta, and it's not. That's not
Well-
going to change until they say like it's high. Like, open the floodgates. I seriously
this
doubt
is-
Waystone has made their push
Honestly,
to
I
build
feel
this
like
community.
I disagree a bit because I mean you can buy everything and they're releasing content regularly to pay for. Like I feel like the game kind of got into this state, and I almost wonder if it's because of the massive June, like the Total Biscuit, the E3, the packs, like. You know, like I mean, the cynical redditor says, you know, did EA make them do this? Did they make them go full into release mode? Like, is that why the progression update isn't ready? Like, you know, there's all kinds of conjecture, etc. But to your point, like they weren't ready for Total Biscuit's like jump into the game. I mean, I can probably agree with that. I bet you they wanted him to join the game when Ranked was out and the game was like closer to done because he's not going to jump back in with both feet again. Like that's these guys don't do that. They don't always play the same game. Like he's done his deep dive into Dawngate. Hopefully he does it again when it's like done, but it definitely like it seems to have turned everything on its head. Like everything feels weird ever since June.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is how I see it. Basically, every single top player is still playing this goddamn game. So
Yeah, how many times
pretty
has
good.
like Brad Reno or somebody like that
or
quit the game?
Shivy.
Right.
Shivy
you
is
know?
the prime example. He's like, yo guys, fuck this game. I'm out of here. And he fucking makes
Meanwhile,
a Smurf
Shivy was
account.
doing work
Yeah,
in the
he made
in-houses
a
today.
He made a Smurf account. And then he played that Smurf account to like where his other account was. And then he's like, oh, hi guys, I'm actually Shivy.
That's fun. I tried that once, and everyone's like, "What the fuck's this glory on Kindred? Get out of here!" But no, I definitely think the game does have an addicting quantity. It is hard to quit, like, you know.
And the other thing too is like, you know, sometimes like the most vocal people who are like, I'm leaving. It's like when you're like a kid and you're like, I'm running away from home and I'm never coming back. And it's like, well, okay.
I'll leave a plate out, you know. The
Yeah,
porch
like,
light's on.
yeah, okay, well, like, you know, I'll leave the door unlocked. So it's one of those things too where I'm just like, you know, a lot of these things are just kind of said out of frustration because we want the game to be further along because there are other games in the genre that are further along. And we want it to be at that level. And it's not there yet. And this is something we kind of have to all learn. It's like, you know, we're it's kind of the beginning of a new genre with all of these games and how popular they are, and we're kind of in this like weird little transitional period. But I don't think it's enough. I don't think we should all abandon ship yet. Like,
Oh God, no.
we haven't hit the iceberg,
No,
guys.
no.
If it's, I mean, you can quote me on this. If it's Christmas and the last 7 Dongate patches have been Shaper releases only, like I would probably be done because like that would really disappoint me as a player for them to go from February to Christmas without, you know, all the cool stuff that I want. But I'd probably be back the week after. Like I like this game, man. It's a fun game. I got a lot of faith in the guys building it. I just, you know, I'm excited, man. We want the stuff because we want to play, and we want like the playing to have bars go up and bells and whistles, and you know
And
that's.
show me my stats on more than just 5 effing Shapers.
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah.
play Reyna anymore, but I
Yeah.
played a bunch when she first came out because there was like no Shapers to play, and she's just been sitting at my 5th most played Shaper, and I'm just
I
like,
love playing
which
Reyna.
Shaper do I need to play in order to take her off of that list? And I have
Yo.
no idea.
Okay, if there was draft mode and then I saw that there's a Ferris on the other side, I'd be like, I'm gonna play Reyna. Like those moments, oh.
Not Zeri with like instant silence. for
No,
the
no,
song?
the Reyna knockback
No,
is,
Reyna is way
it was
better.
happening today in the
Fair enough.
in-houses.
Oh, this
I think
Scrag tell you,
Oatzy.
teach you my ways?
Oatzy was
Okay.
yeah, and Scrag was
I
talking
know.
about it though.
Okay, so in my Bob team Skype chat, I was like, yo, you can actually pick Reyna against Ferris. And then Otzi's like, no, that doesn't work. No.
No.
And then today
That was a
Otzi's
good. That was
like,
a good impression. That was a perfect Otzi right
That was a
there.
perfect
Yeah.
Oatzy.
And then Ozzy was like, yo, I'm gonna test this. And then after the game, he's like, okay, I'm sold. Like the lane phase actually works.
It
Oh,
did.
like,
I mean, I
yes.
saw me and Scrag watched it
I've
in
been
an
saying
in-house.
it, man.
And
I think Reyna's one of those forgettable Shapers that will never be bad.
The
Unlike
big thing with
Flynn,
Reyna
who's
is,
forgettable
like-
and shit, but like
Yeah.
Reyna's like your reliable. Like, you know what? I was just unpacking a box yesterday, and I found my original Nintendo Game Boy DS from like 8 years ago. I turned that shit on. It still worked. I booted up. I was playing Tetris. I hadn't touched that thing in like 6 years. That's Reyna for me, right? You know, like you random Reyna by accident. You pull her in, you knock her back, you do your stuns. Like she's good, man. I've always been a fan of like her as like a Shaper. She's no Basco release, but like I don't know, she's
Yo, Reyna
trusted.
release?
she's
Okay.
old and reliable. It's very fitting
Okay,
with her
okay,
theme
just-
as a character.
Can I just wanna throw something out here because I was having this discussion today and I don't feel like I'm enough of an authority to comment on it, and I have like 2 people who I think
Oh, own
at
it.
least
Own it. Feel like you're the expert. Go.
Yeah, well, I have 2 people at least here who can give me a definite answer. People in my chat today were like, "Zeri is terrible. Zeri is great." What is
Zeri's
your
terrible.
feeling? There you go. That's what I said. I feel better now.
Would you say terrible?
Yes.
I think
Oh,
she's
God.
best played as like a burst mage.
Yes.
Zeri's like
Full power Zeri is terrifying, but that's the only one I'm afraid of.
Zeri's my original Game Boy. I pulled it out. It still worked, but like it was like Tetris without color, and I was like,
yeah.
it was like desaturated Tetris. I was like, nah, I'm going back to the DS.
Oh,
I'm
I
bringing
see
my,
what
my
you
girl
did there.
Reyna.
Oh,
Yeah, you like. Woo.
But Reyna's like so. it's just fitting, like the way she fits like into team comps and things. She's just like that, like that old reliable girl. Like, oh, she's not the prettiest, she's not the fastest or the strongest, but damn it, she'll be there.
Why play Zeri when you can play Calm? Indeed, Max.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
she's
isn't
just
isn't he
always
so
not-
much more flashy and like attract? Like, oh yeah, the King of Masks. I'm gonna play this guy, and then it's like, here's Reyna. I got my shield, I got my hammer. Time to go to work. Derp-a-der. But it's like it's still effective and it works great. But it's like doesn't have the shininess of all these fun, bursty tactician mages.
Well, especially, the more really cool, awesome tactician mages that come out, the worse Zeri's going to look because she's kind of like an
Yeah.
aura bot. Her
Like-
ultimate is vaguely visceral.
It's sad because right now you play a lot of like in any game, supports are there to peel or engage for you, and Zeri
Yeah.
really does neither of that. Like she
Yeah.
doesn't have a clear go signal. Like when her Q hits, is like, oh, is it poke or like, am I supposed to go in now? And then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I have this ultimate, but it doesn't really do anything to the other team except drain their power. But like you can just tailwind and peace out of that.
Mhm.
So
That's funny. Zeri's got so many points in announcing, they couldn't give her many points in shaping, or she'd be OP. That's true. Her best role is announcer, 100%. Maybe
This-
they could go back to her kit and maybe like do something to it.
I don't
Just
think
change
anyone,
her-
no one's ever been
changing-
happy with W.
okay,
Give
changing
W
her
an actual thing.
Changing her
Okay.
W to not make it take stats away from you would
Yeah.
already make her 50 times better than she is right now.
I'd like to see the butterfly have more gameplay. I mean, even if it's super like lame, like stealing straight from Lulu or whatever in LoL, like make it give that person like on hit damage or give her like a really clear purpose. Because
Yeah.
right now it's really hard to define her as like the aura shaper who debuffs and does like stuff. It's not nearly as cool as a Dibs flying across the map or King
Mina
of
doing
Masks.
all of those
Yeah.
things that Zeri can do, but better. It's like, oh, when I
Yeah.
buff my teammates, I can shield my teammates. I can make their abilities better. I can damage reduction. I can
Yeah, Mina's
shred.
it, bro.
Like that's a thing. Like, just take some of Mina's kit, give it to Zeri, and everything's fine.
Well, I feel more justified in saying that exact thing when people were talking about Zeri today. I just wanted to get the
I used
the
to
general
defend-
opinion of people who are better than me.
I used to defend Zeri a lot, but that was like 6 months ago. I feel like her kit's just kind of, it's gotten old fashioned now. It's old hat. I think that she probably needs to be looked at again, but I don't think she's underpowered. Maybe she is, but she seems like just undesirable
She's
more
just
than
not
anything.
that like where's like your like, oh yeah, I got a moment on Zeri. Like with Amaranth, you could wave right her in, knock everybody up with Riptide, throw a bubble comma down, burst somebody. Asherbell, it's like you can land gale after gale and knock someone back with a well-timed storm wall. With King of Masks, you're flourishing, ice skating around. With Sakari, you're dropping impossible bugged walls that lock people in place for 4 seconds. Which please fix that shit, Waystone.
I saw somebody complain that the wall knocked somebody to the side today, and I was like, what's the alternative? You want it to stun for 4 seconds?
Yeah, you want it
all
to
the
land
time?
on you.
Yeah, that was funny.
So I
But-
mean, when you have all of these other options for tactician mages, and then it's like, oh, well, there's old Zeri. Like, well, let's not talk about her. She had a really bad weekend. Like, it's just that's the thing. There's just so many other people who do what Zeri can do, and just it's more fun, and it feels better. It looks better. It's everything,
Yeah, I think the instant silence is like the most core
The only
ability to a
thing.
kit.
Yeah, that
Like
shit's
being
good.
able to silence a Kindra when she jumps in, or if Kindra's like blitzing or something, like wither her and then silence like as soon as you can. Like the
Okay, my saddest part about Zeri is like I picked Zeri,
yep.
but all she can really do is counter one spectrum of everyone else, whereas everyone else can counter the whole spectrum. Like
Yeah.
Reyna can counter assassins, Zeri counters assassins, but Reyna can stop bruisers from demolishing your team, and Zeri can't do that. And then there's like, when I used to play ADC and a Zeri silences me, I'm like, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna shoot your head off. And then she dies, and I'm like, yo, this is free. And then there's a Reyna who puts her shield up, and I'm like, well, fuck, I can't hit her, so. And then
Yeah.
she's all up in my face and shit, and I can't
I mean,
do anything.
Zeri still wrecks Cerulean, but
That's
Yeah, but,
actually
like-
that's actually a really probably strong counter.
but
because
that's the
you know-
only. She's the. I mean, I
Well,
have
okay,
a
this is-
natural
this is
hatred of
what
Zeri
happens.
just because of Cerulean, but
Okay, you dunk, and then she silences you,
And
right?
you can't
but
flip.
But you blitz through, and you just walk forward.
yeah, but your blitz isn't always on cooldown. That silence is on a really, really short cooldown.
Yeah, but you can still stick to them.
Yeah,
if you hit
you
your
can.
Q in midair.
If-
So
if
like
blitz
it's not
is
a
open.
it's not like a big counter to it.
It's not a big counter, but it's just one of those things like levels 1 to 6. You're just like, oh my god, I can't get any fucking flips.
Yeah. And then like the moments where she just casually uses the silence to silence you for no reason, and you're level 6, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is free.
Yeah, then it's free. You're right about that.
Like,
It's go time. But she's got that graffiti Zeri skin, though. I mean,
her feet look too big.
oh wow, what a picky guy.
Damn.
Yo, I'm super picky, alright?
That's right. Tull's telling it like it is.
Like it is.
There was a point in time where I played Zeri, and I think I won twice as many games as I lost. And I have no idea how that happened or why, but Power Zeri is so good.
Look, Power Zeri, if you really
Power
want to
Zeri's
do it, if
sick.
you run her Gladiator and like put her with like a Dibs or I don't know, I wonder how like Mina might help her too. Just so like you can't dive on her if Mina can fear them away. But if you build her full power and like
She does a billion damage.
she does a lot of damage. I mean, you got to be able to hit your spatters, but
Oh, I like the correct usage of the word there.
yeah, it's spatter. That's right.
Very well done, sir.
Spatter, good job. I remember in like Viv, you were like, is this splatter or spatter?
Yeah, we've had many debates over it because some of the text on MOBA Champion may have been wrong. But thanks to caster mode, now I can just blame Waystone because I will hover. I can hover over the abilities as
Gee.
opposed to alt tabbing and quickly bringing up MOBA Champion. I'm like, okay, where's Petrus? Okay, there's his moves. What's his fucking R called? Okay,
What did
Meridian
it used to be
Educator.
called?
It used
No,
to be,
it used to be something else.
Hypersonic Punch.
You know what though? Like way back in the day, like before anything was like super streamlined, like they gave me those ability names and they were wrong. Like, sorry, you know.
Oh, there's one thing about Petrus that I still hate. You know his unyielding progress is E?
Yeah.
The icon is his left hand spinning this way, right? But if you
Oh
look
my
at the picture of it,
God.
his right arm is the stone hand. And I'm like, can you just flip that image? Like,
I think you
and
have.
I'll be okay?
I think that's
Yeah.
a good argument, Tulls.
That's you know, if that's not fixed in the next patch, I'm quitting.
We're
Dongi.
quitting. Money Pigs is done.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm
over.
But yeah, it
closing
doesn't
the
matter
gates.
because if you look at his Q, it's his right fist. And then
Yeah.
if you look at his force slam, is his right fist going downwards. And if you look at
Where's
his
the
Meridian
continuity?
It's his right fist.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and then unyielding progress is his left fist, and I'm just like, dude, come on, it's an easy fix. Just do it for me.
You know what? He's not wrong. He's not. I cannot find fault in his argument. So
Oh, I mean, it's legit.
got to give it to him.
It's legit.
It is a solid argument with no proper counter.
You really can't. Like, it's over.
Unless for some reason it just looks better, like with that direction of spinning, then I guess I'll deal with it.
Still, these are the things. These are the
That's
pressing
also-
issues that the community want fixed. Damn
I'm
it!
just imagining
Top
Cole
of top
sitting
of the
in a
list.
Petrus game, just like glaring at the screen, just
Yeah, that was my first game of like Petrus. I like zoomed in onto his character. I was like, yo, this is cool. Like back when I used to troll super hard and play fully zoomed in games, and then I noticed it. I was like, and then I tried spinning, and he actually spins like right and not left, and I was like, god damn.
We gotta get BDNA back in the podcast and ask what way Petrus spins down there. It's important to know.
Well,
Oh.
that's a good. I'm gonna
about-
count that one for John. That was a good one. For those of you who don't know, BDNA is south is in the southern hemisphere, so you know
And
it's
down under.
down
it
under.
was a water spinning
Yes.
joke. Fully
The
explained
toilets.
now.
Hey, The Simpsons taught me that.
They did. They taught everyone, I think.
Really? That's where
Yeah.
you learned that.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess. I don't know
As
where
a-
else
that's
to
where I
go.
learned it.
As a citizen of Australia, I learned early on that particular
Oh,
fact.
yeah. Oh, sorry that I don't live in Australia
Yeah.
and know all these things.
I've only spent the entirety of my life in the northern hemisphere.
Well, there you
My
go.
bad.
I
Yeah.
guess they don't teach you as much about us as we
You know what?
get taught about you.
No, because that's like the first thing when you get to Australia. It's like first things first. Everything here can kill you. Second thing, our water spins the other way. Deal with it. Like those are the two important things. You go to Australia. That is what you learn.
Elf, I'm gonna ask you this: how much is a medium double with tax?
What? I live in
Come on.
Canada.
You do live in Canada now, don't you?
I don't care. I really don't.
Medium double. Come on, come on.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't know either. It goes on my Tim's card, but
There you go. You don't even know. You're asking.
It's like
me.
$1.62 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's like something.
There's
Yeah.
not a Tim Hortons. from
Jesus,
walking
I'm the only
distance.
American in this chat.
Oh yeah, we got
Muzzy.
you at number 3 to
Oh,
1.
where are you, Muzzy?
There's
Boom.
no
There's
Tim
so many
Hortons, no Tim Hortons.
Canadians.
Yes, Canada.
I know the extra large is $2. There you go. There you go. That's a toonie for those who are
Yeah,
not
we're-
aware.
we're
So
a
less,
loony.
so less than
Loonies.
that.
Yeah, it's
I
less
mean,
than
I'm
a
gonna say
toonie.
less than that.
Loonies and toonies.
Mm,
I have like a prepaid Tim's card that like a quarter of my paycheck just goes directly into.
Oh boy.
So now that we've fully gone off the rails, we can
Sorry.
move it in. No, it's fine. I mean, we're moving towards wrap up section.
yeah.
Anyway, so we can open it up to the floor. Anyone in chat, if you haven't immediately tuned out from all of this high level discussion, if you're still
Dribble.
here, please, if you have anything you would like to talk about, now is your chance. We've got some time here.
Question and answers.
Q and
Spec
A.
now.
Other than that, we can just talk about LCS or anything
Oh,
else.
the World Championships. This is like the best World Championships ever. Like the
I
group
was-
Well,
stage.
except for the time in which it's
It's-
occurring.
Group A
Uh,
and B is utter crap. I don't care
Yeah,
what you
but
say.
no, Group A and B was like it was surprising because like obviously everybody knows who was gonna win, but then like all of a sudden Sven Skaren decides that Taipei Ching Chong is just the best possible name
Yeah.
for an account on the Taiwanese servers, and then AHQ is like, you know what? Fuck EDG. We're just gonna wreck them. I think that's who they beat, and then make like try to force a tiebreaker. Like that was impressive. And then SK comes back from the grave just to make sure that TSM has to
TSM
fight
is
Samsung
owned.
Galaxy White in the. next
So I'm
round.
not following it as heavy as everyone.
I-
Why does everyone say there's no chance TSM can win that game?
'Cause that's the
Because they're
best.
Because they're not going to.
because they're the best team.
Gotcha.
Like, yeah.
I literally went back to League of Legends in the last couple of days to play some games because I was inspired by the 80 carry in Samsung's team, the
Yeah.
Imp or whatever. Just
Yeah, no,
so good, so good.
Fantastically. We're just waiting for questions and answers. Question: would reducing Zeri's paint cooldown and shit, I lost it. Slow time effect make her feel better? I don't think so.
No, because that means you do more damage in the lane phase. And she's already a huge lane bully.
Yeah,
The biggest
I-
thing is like she doesn't do anything in team fights. Like it's
Yeah.
nothing extremely tangible. I mean, or like apparent.
Visceral.
visceral.
word.
I don't like using that word. It's like whenever there's a word or a term that shows up on money pigs, freaking Decade is like, yo, I'm gonna use this word all the time. And he's using it. I'm just like, oh, like shut up.
No,
I
no,
just like
visceral. That's
thinking
straight from that.
ironically.
That's straight from Waystone. That's
yeah,
Gasty.
exactly.
Yeah.
Waystone has a habit of overusing words, and the one that they used to overuse a lot was cadence. And I think it was like Andy's Will Belford who used to use it all the time. He's like the cadence of this, the cadence of that, and like that shit used to drive me nuts because then like everybody at the studio would use it for everything, and that used to be the word. It would just set me off.
Yeah.
Anyway, next
A couple
question.
people were asking about Tess. Do we think Tess needs a buff? Tulse,
No.
you play a lot of Tess. You play her tactician
no.
though.
She's fine.
You think she's fine?
Because-
Does she need a buff to be viable as a gladiator, or do you think her ideal role is tactician?
Okay, she will never be good. Well, not good. That's too big of a word. She'll never be super, like, amazing as a gladiator because every other ADC has a steroid. Like Michaela has her gold standard. What is it? And then
Yeah.
Vex has his ultimate and his W. Like he. Okay,
Yeah.
Vex has spikes, and then Varian has his celerity. No, whatever it is. I'm not a caster. He has his E.
Yeah, I
and-
know what you mean. They all
yeah.
have some kind of steroid. Even Nisa has
Yeah,
the
has the
chase.
passive phase.
Phase.
And then freaking Tess just doesn't have any of that. But what she does have is she has 2 damage abilities that can be spammed 24/7, so it automatically makes her lane phase 10 times better. And the whole reason why she's a tactician is because you can focus those abilities on the enemy shaper instead of on the creep wave.
Yeah,
And-
I mean,
That's why it's like I've been running other carries in tactician role. Like I had a scrim
It's fun.
against Bob, and I played freaking tactician Ferris, and I did well, and I love it. And
Dude.
it makes me feel like I can actually play a person who's traditionally a gladiator in a tactician role as long as I play the lane phase correctly. So
the
Uh,
only amendment I have for your comment, and not an amendment, but like I don't like it when people play AD carries as support when I'm also playing an AD carry, especially if it's Vex, because like I get really upset when I'm playing a shaper that needs peel and
Yeah.
somebody locks in a shaper that doesn't peel.
Yeah.
So like I love test as a tactician, but I got to make sure that lane partner has the ability to take care of themselves. Like
Yeah,
variant test fine, you have Kensu test not
Not
bad,
so fine.
but like Vex test, I'm like, oh, get the fuck out. Please give me the best crowd control possible because I need to be protected. So I definitely think Tess is a really amazing tactician if played with somebody that can hold their own.
Mhm.
Especially when she goes to roam, right? Like Tess roaming
Yeah,
across the
right.
map, and Vex is like, oh,
Biggest thing. Yeah. And then
and then
the
like
Vex
turns
just
around.
gets he gets zoned 1v2.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, but you played Tess in one of my games a month or two ago, and as soon as it happened, I was like, I don't know, because I
That was
was
your
on Vex
Kindred
at the
game.
time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Kendra, I don't remember, but it worked out tremendously.
We did
So
on that lane, dude.
we did well. It was a good time. Maybe it was Kendra. Kendra could definitely 1v2.
Yeah,
So
1v2,
yeah.
and then I went roam and got double kill top, and I was like, oh,
God
you're
bless.
doing well, fine.
It was really well. Good stuff.
Chocobo's X. What do you think they need to do to make Viridian so he can glad better? So I think people just need to
Yeah.
play more Viridian. I don't think Viridian's weak at all. I
I've
think
seen some really, really good
The
Glad
thing with
Viridian.
Viridian is you have to literally learn every single matchup in the freaking game. And then you have to count cooldowns in your head. Like, you have to be mechanical with this shit.
You're
And then
right.
You can't just go full dumbass into the enemy team and then expect something to come out with it. That's not Viridian. That's like Ferris or Kingdom.
Mhm.
Viridian is like, yo, man, I got this all calculated, and then I'm gonna strike right now, and you're dead.
Well, I mean,
That's Viridian.
I don't do any of the things Tulsa's saying, but I can tell you this. I was playing Gladiator Viridian with a Tactician Mara. I was up against a Gladiator and a Tactician Amaranth King of Masks. I don't remember who was which, but
Yeah.
I was watching on Viridian because, like, early game, like, I'm like, okay, well, Amaranth just threw her bubble. King of Masks just threw his eggs. This is my chance. I can go in and harass with my W, with my Surge. And I would go in when I saw them use their abilities, and I would get some awesome auto attack harass off, and I'd get out, and then I'd be like, hey, this is. I'm like, why don't people do this? I'm like, this is
Yeah.
great. And I'm playing 2 melee shapers against 2 range shapers, which should never, which should make your lane phase misery. But like, we finished lane phase like I was like 2-1-3, so I was like, hey, this worked out really well.
Yeah, like, it's surprising because if you're against a range like AD carry and they don't have like a peeling support or like a hard peel support, whenever they go for that CS, their auto attack range is exactly your W range. So you can sit next to that creep that they're going to auto attack and you just dash at them and then you blow them up for like a quarter of their HP for 1 W. And you just W out again.
I gotta say, Viridian is like the scariest person I play against whenever I'm Salgasing. That's for sure. You miss that Q on Viridian and he just kills you. You're just
Delicious Salgus treats.
You're just dead.
His damage against squishy people who aren't running default loadout, like those guys that think they're so cool with their like 13 pen and like power and shit like that, like, oh my god, get one shot because that damage.
I just think more people should play Viridian. Not that he needs any changes, any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean,
I
he's niche though, right? Like,
I think he's more difficult. He has a high skill ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
He's also
And he's
got
not
a lot
that
of
great in the jungle,
unfavorable
and that's where some
team
people
fights.
like to take him.
Yeah,
I just will
he
never
also
feel
has
like
a lot of
Viridian jungle is.
Right.
Viridian jungle doesn't put enough fear of God into the lanes, in my opinion. But
I agree. I'm much more scared of a Salus than I am of Viridian.
Oh yeah,
you know what
it's
I mean?
like, oh, Viridian's coming out. I'm just gonna move over here, and no,
Salus is like, oh, that Q is not gonna hit me. JK, it bounced off the creep. And now I'm
Doink! Yeah, exactly.
I hate that feeling so much. Some bounces.
No,
make
what's
me
worse
question
is
my humanity.
when you blink and he hasn't recasted Judgment yet. That's the worst feeling ever, and you're like, that was wasted.
The worst feeling is when you blink after he casts his Judgment and then he still snares you.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I got one too though. The worst thing is when you juke the fucking Q, but the other guy doesn't. You're like,
oh.
Yeah.
And he just Qs to behind you, and you get stuck in the ult anyway because he went to the guy that was next to you because you avoided it. You can't even take the bullet for somebody on Salus because it'll just bounce behind him. You know what I mean? on other shapers like Amaranth coming, like you could take the
Yeah.
bullet for your bro with the bubble, but no.
God, like hand me any person in jungle, and I would prefer to fight them than Salus. I don't know. I don't like Salus coming out of me.
Old school Moya, pretty OP.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was never there, so I can't speak to that.
Wow. Lucky.
Hmm.
That was freaking nightmare.
Just couldn't chase her. But Salus, yeah, he can just engage from everywhere. Even in the in-houses, he's one of like the more hotly contested picks.
Salus is just OP, man.
I don't know. Do you really think he's OP, or do you just think? Yeah, his kit's just really
Visceral,
good.
man.
Like the thing is, like, if a Salus falls behind, he is free.
That's the thing. I had a game like that today. I think it was Yagachu. I think in the game that went really snowbally in the bad way. Like
Yeah.
he got killed early on, like level 2 or 3 at like a botched armor invade or something, and then it was like, wow, like Salus can't do it because Salus you need to be in the thick of it. You need to be in the middle in everyone's face. But if you're behind and under leveled and under itemed, well then you're just like a gnat that can be swatted away.
Exactly. Like,
Good
that's why
junglers don't get behind often, though.
that's why a lot of Salus players have been getting blink now, because you can just blink ulti and then Q them and then run away once your team follows up. And then once all the threatening cooldowns are down, you just take the judgment back in and you do your work. But yeah, it's like the biggest complaint that I've heard is that Salus feels very all in, but I feel like there are ways to play around that. So yeah.
Those clutch storm walls from Asherbell are really nice to interrupt that second cast of judgment.
Oh, okay. When I used to play Asherbell and I would get hit by a Q. No, my ally would get hit, my lane mate would get hit by a Q. And then Salus takes the Q to me. I use my storm wall. And then he takes the Q next to my ally, and then he kills me again. I'm just like...
Yeah, that happened to me a bunch of times as well, and I
I'm
was
like,
like,
I hate you. I
"Are
was like,
you serious? I perfectly defended myself. Like, there was nothing else I could have done."
yeah, it's, Salus.
I don't know.
I think the most Okay, what is the most satisfying feeling for you in Dongate? Like, what
I can
what
tell you.
skill? Kick resets?
No, I think it's the Zalgus 4 reset Omni kill. I think is probably the biggest and best play that you'll ever see in this game, just because of like just how incredible that would be to watch someone go like boom, 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 boom.
Pluto
boom.
almost did it in that one clip. There is a clip
Yeah.
of Pluto doing it, and he gets
Stole
the
it.
4, and someone stole the 5th one.
Yonhei steals the 5th.
I think
think
this is gonna sound like really underwhelming considering the whole like, well, the Zalgus ulti thing. Like, I mean that's a hell of a payoff. But like, just for the simple everyday sort of like, I get this in every game and it feels so lovely. When you get the calm flourish Q on someone and there's that split second where you know they're gonna die, but the tentacles haven't hit them yet, and you just know their health is gonna drop to 0 in the next like 0.5 seconds, and there's just that delicious moment of time where you're just like, I have killed you. You are dead. You know? I find that great. That's just like my favorite thing.
My favorite feeling is when you blink a Cerulean flip, and then the flip still goes off.
The same thing with
Waystone, if
Varian
you're
Progress
here,
Gate.
please fix Waystone.
Like,
Flip
my
always
favorite-
gets priority, no matter
My
what.
favorite is like all those blink bugs. Like when you blink a Moya ult and the Moya ult still hits you and you get carried with the Moya ult and you get
Tough.
That's the best. I laugh so hard whenever that happens.
Oh, but like for real, if anyone from Waystone is here, please fix, because like those are the type of things that like when I play, because they still happen in LoL, not as much as they used to, but like when that happens, it's like, please fix your game, because I don't want to die right now, and I feel like I did literally everything in my power to not die, but I died. So that's pretty.
Today, actually, I saw the Coggin's hook does funny things with blinks too sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I saw a couple things like that today. My AW Corruption rocking that jungle Coggin today in the in-houses was like landing all of the god hooks, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and that's why 50 just takes the hook.
You don't want to bug out. Just take it and then
Look
blink.
at
Just
it.
take it,
I
man.
blinked the hook. You can see it in the replay that I blinked the hook, and I still got hooked.
There's
I
also
love
this
it.
bug where I think Ferris got flipped, but he like used his jump over the wall, and he got flipped. and he like slid all the way back around the wall.
The ice
Like,
caps.
it was awesome. I was just laughing so much.
Oh man.
Whew.
Well, it's fun. Well, this has been a fun show. So
Mhm.
not everything is bad. The game is still fun. We can all enjoy Dawn Gate still.
Just plain-
Dude, the game is good. The people are bad. The
Yeah,
people are broken,
people.
man.
That's what I've always said about working in the service industry. I love the service industry. I just fucking hate the customers.
I have to say I've had more salt in my veins recently than in the past.
Embrace
During
the
my
salt, become
my
one
days,
with the
like
salt.
yeah, just embrace the salt, be one with the salt. But that's like one of those seasonal things. I think it's just gonna be more fun again soon.
It's always this stuff's it's always gonna ebb and flow, and especially with game. What we live in just like such like as a final thought, like there's always something new coming out, new and great. And everyone's in on Destiny, or then a new game comes out in a month, and it's like everybody goes to that, and it's like these
Destiny
MOBAs though
sucks,
they
dude.
stick around, and of course your interest is going to peak and valley, but we might be in a little valley now, but I think we're gonna be hitting another peak here soon, and I still feel like Waystone is like shutting all the doors and like locking themselves in and like burning through, like cramming for a big test or something, and they're just gonna like come out with all this crap all at once, and we're gonna be like, oh, this is awesome, and we're all gonna be hype again and forget we were even having these discussions
yeah.
until it comes up again 5 months from now. But until that point, do you guys have any final words for the stream tonight?
Stay salty, my friends.
Stay salty.
Stay salty. I think we covered pretty much everything. Thanks for having me on.
No,
again.
thank you again,
Always-
Elf, for stepping in at the last minute. I really appreciate it.
Always lovely to be a part of this.
Just so everyone knows, community-wise, there is the Moment of Valor tournament on Friday. There is the ATG tournament on Saturday. Also, Best Shaper World is on Saturday. I think they're doing Nisa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So that'll be good. Make sure you check out all that stuff. The more people are interested and the more people watch stuff like the tournaments and like, the individually run in-houses and stuff, that's if the interest is there, Waystone will respond and build things to supplement them. At least that seems to be what they've been doing. So just keep it going and we'll see where this takes all of us. But I'm still excited for the future. I still think it looks pretty bright. So
Yeah. And don't be a dick in all chat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Save it.
Just unbind the freaking all chat button. if you're gonna be
There's
a dick
literally
anyway.
no reason to speak in these games.
Don't be a
just
dick in group chat either.
Just ping each other.
Yeah, like Arbus, whenever I do a freaking YOLO move and I die, he like, the missing is a question mark, right? He would ping that on my body and we would laugh like crazy. I was like, Pulse, are you there? Hello, Pulse? And then my corpse is there and then he's like question mark pinging.
Oh.
Sadness. All right, guys. Well, thank you all again for joining us on the Money Pigs Livecast. I have been Twerp. The rest of us have been the rest of us. Other than that, that's all I got for tonight. So thank you, bozos, for watching. See you next time.
Later.